In the deep forest of southwestern Nigeria, where the sand there is red and easily stains one's feet as you walk by and the palm trees dancing as the wind blown them like silent watchers, there was a village called Ayatoro. It was not marked on most maps. Traveler hardly passed through it. Those who did never stayed long. Ayatoro was a normal village in the morning. At sunrise, smoke rose from mud kitchens. Women pounded yam. Children chased one another with dusty feet. Farmers walked toward their farms with hoes resting on their shoulders. Goats bleated. Roosters crowed. The village felt alive, but as the sun goes higher, something changed. By the time the sun stood directly above the earth, when shadows hid beneath the feet, the entire village would become empty. Doors would slam shut. Pots would be abandoned mid-cooking. Fires would be left burning. Even animals would disappear. It was as if the wind itself shouted a warning only villagers could hear. And at exactly 12 noon, not a single soul would be seen outside. The first time it happened to an outsider was many years ago. A traveling palm wine tapper had laughed when he was warned. Ghost town at noon, he had said. Are you children? He stayed outside that day. He said he feared nothing. The villagers watched him from behind their wooden doors. When the church bell rang 12, the air shifted. The wind stopped. The birds stopped singing. Even the insects went silent. Then it came. Not like thunder, not like footsteps, but like something breathing heavily over the whole village. The tapper began to turn slowly, his laughter dying in his throat. He could not see what the villagers could see. A shadow. A moving shadow that did not belong to any tree. It stretched across the ground. Long twisted. Crawling. The man tried to run, but his legs moved slowly, like he was walking inside water. The shadow rose and wrapped around him. The villagers heard him scream once. Just once. Then silence returned. When the sun moved slightly westward, just a little, the villagers opened their doors. The tapper was gone. No blood. No footprints. Nothing. Only his overturned calabash remained on the ground. That was how it always happened. Anyone found outside at 12 noon disappeared. Some said it was a curse. Some said it was punishment. The elders said it was older than their fathers' fathers. They told stories of a time when Ayatoro had angered something deep inside the forest. Something ancient. Something that did not forgive. No one knew the full story. They only knew the rule: hide before noon, or vanish. Years passed. Children grew up learning fear before they learned bravery. The village became quiet during the hottest part of the day. So quiet that even strangers felt it before they understood it. And then, one market day, a new stranger walked into Ayatoro. She carried a bow. Her name was Adarong. She was 18 years old, and she was not afraid of shadows. What do you think will be fate of Adarong? Will it be the same as the palm wine tapper? Do you think she is bold enough to face the strange object that comes out at noon? Find out and more in chapter 2. Don't forget to comment your thoughts below, like and share this video. Thanks for watching. Adarong had traveled far from her homeland. She came from a small hunting settlement near the edges of the great forest that stretched across the southwest of Nigeria. Her father had trained her from childhood. Do not fear what moves, he used to say. Fear what is silent. She learned to track antelope when she sees broken trees, branches or grass. She learned to climb iroko trees. She learned to shoot arrows without shaking even when there is any distraction around her. But she had never entered a village like Ayatoro. The silence disturbed her. Not the normal quiet of midday heat, but a planned silence. A silence with rules. She arrived just before noon. An old woman at the edge of the village saw her. Girl, the woman whispered sharply. Go inside. Now. Adarong frowned. Why? No time to explain. But Adarong had lived among forests filled with leopards. She did not take orders from whispers. What happens at noon? She asked calmly. The old woman looked around nervously. Death, she said. The church bell began to ring. 1, 2, 3. Doors began to close. Windows shut. The air grew thick. The woman ran inside her hut and slammed the door. Adarong stood alone in the center of the dusty path. She tightened her grip on her bow. The 11th bell rang. The 12th bell rang. The world stopped. No wind. No birds. Nothing. Then she felt it. A cold breath behind her. She turned. At first, she saw nothing. Then she saw movement on the ground. Her own shadow stretched unnaturally long. But it was not following her shape. It was moving independently. The shadow peeled itself from her feet. It rose slowly like black smoke taking form. Tall, long-armed, faceless, but with glowing white eyes. It made no sound. Adarong's heart pounded, but she did not run. She remembered her father's words. Fear what is silent. The creature moved toward her. She shot an arrow. The arrow passed through it. Like smoke, the creature reached out. Its hand touched her arm. Pain exploded through her body like fire under her skin. Her knees buckled. The shadow began wrapping around her. The villagers watched from cracks in their doors. She will vanish, someone whispered. But Adarong was not done. With shaking fingers, she pulled a small charm from her neck, a protection bead her grandmother had given her. The moment the charm touched the shadow, the creature shrieked. For the first time, it made a sound. The ground trembled. The shadow released her and pulled back, twisting violently before dissolving into the air. The bells stopped ringing. Wind returned. Birds sang again. The villagers slowly opened their doors. Adarong lay on the ground, breathing hard but alive. Alive. No one had ever survived noon outside. The villagers stared at her like she was not human. The old woman approached carefully. "What are you?" she asked. Adarong sat up slowly. "I am a hunter," she replied. And the mystery of Ayatoro had just met its match. "Do you think this is really a game changer? What will be the fate of the villager if Adarong leaves the village? Do you think the strange shadow will appear again?" Find out all these and more in the next chapter. Don't forget to comment your thoughts, share and like this video if the story keeps you hopeful. That evening, the elders gathered inside the largest hut. Adarong sat before them. They told her the truth they had hidden for generations. Long ago, the village had cut down a sacred Iroko tree deep in the forest to expand farmland. They ignored warnings from a wandering priest. They burned the wood, and at exactly 12 noon the next day, the first disappearance happened. Since then, the shadow came daily. The stump of the Iroko tree still remained in the forest. No one dared go near it. Adarong listened quietly. "Show me," she said. The elders protested, but she insisted. At dawn the next day, she followed the elders into the forest. They stopped at a clearing. In the center stood the massive stump, blackened, cracked, and oozing dark sap like blood. The air there felt heavy. Adarong knelt and touched the wood. It was cold, even under morning sun. "This is not just a spirit," she said. "It is bound here." As noon approached, she hid behind nearby rocks. She wanted to see where it came from. The bell rang from the distant village. The forest froze. The stump began to split. From inside it, the shadow poured out, thicker than before, stronger. It rose high above the trees before rushing toward the village. Adarong understood. The spirit was anchored here. If the stump was destroyed properly, the curse might break. But ordinary fire would not work. She needed something stronger, something sacred. Adarong did not move as the shadow stretched across the forest, swallowing the light as it sped toward the village, faster than anything she had ever seen. Her chest tightened. If it reached Ayatoro before her, more people would vanish. She turned to run, but then the ground beneath the stump trembled again. Slowly, painfully, the cracked wood began to shift. Not break, not burn, move. A second darkness was pushing from deep inside the roots. Bigger, heavier, waiting. Adarong froze, her grip tightening on her bow as a cold truth settled in. What she had just seen was only part of it, and whatever was still down there had not yet come out. What do you think will happen to her if the shadow sees her, or do you think more villagers will vanish? Find out in chapter 4. Comment your thoughts below. Don't forget to like and share this video if it thrills you. Join the community if you are not yet following us. Thanks for watching. The next day, early in the morning, Adarong and the village elders gathered the villagers in the village square, telling them how she is going to defect the dark spirit, but she needs everyone's support to win this battle before them. The villagers prepared exactly as Adarong instructed. No one argued this time. No one whispered doubt. They had seen her survive noon. That alone giving them enough courage to trust her. From early in the morning, the women gathered palm oil in clay pots. The men brought out old iron tools that had not been used in years, rusted cutlasses, broken spearheads, farming blades. The herbalists collected bitter leaves, crushed charcoal, and roots known only to elders. Salt was poured into woven baskets. Nothing was left out. Adarong supervised everything carefully. She did not rush. She did not speak too much. She mixed the palm oil with ground herbs and charcoal until it formed a thick dark paste. The smell was sharp and bitter. She added salt slowly, grinding it with a flat stone. Then she melted small pieces of iron filings into the mixture by heating them lightly over fire and stirring them in. "This must touch the heart of the stump," she said quietly. The elders stood behind her. Chief Adeyemi cleared his throat. "Are you certain this will end it?" Adarong looked toward the forest. It is tied there. If it bleeds from that place, it dies. By late morning, the village felt tense. No one laughed. No child ran. Even the goats were tied indoors. At 11:45, Adarong carried the clay bowl of sacred mixture and an iron spear heading toward the forest clearing. The elders followed at a distance but stopped before reaching the stump. Fear still lived in their bones. "I will go alone from here," she said. They did not argue. The clearing felt colder than the rest of the forest. The massive blackened stump stood in the center, cracked and ugly, dark sap hardened along its sides. Flies did not go near it. Ants did not crawl on it. It stood like something abandoned by life itself. Adarong placed the clay bowl on the ground. She drove the iron spear into the soil beside her. The distant church bell from the village began to ring. 1. The wind slowed. 2. Leaves stopped rustling. 3. The forest grew still. By the 10th bell, even Adarong could feel her heartbeat echoing in her ears. 11. The stump began to vibrate slightly. 12. The final bell rang. The stump cracked open violently, splitting down the middle with a sound like wood snapping under heavy weight. From inside, the shadow spirit burst out, thicker than before, wider, stronger. It rose higher than the treetops, stretching like a column of black smoke before bending downward toward her. Its white eyes burned brighter than ever. It did not rush her immediately. It circled her, slowly, testing. Adarong grabbed the bowl and ran straight toward the stump. The spirit reacted instantly. It lunged. Its long arm slashed through the air and struck her shoulder. The pain was unbearable, like hot metal pressed against her skin. She staggered but did not fall. She reached the stump and smeared the thick sacred paste across the largest crack. The spirit screamed. The sound shook the trees. Birds flew wildly from distant branches. The ground trembled under her feet. The shadow's arm wrapped around her waist and lifted her slightly off the ground. The cold burned worse than fire. Her vision blurred, but she kept one hand inside the crack, pushing the paste deeper. The spirit twisted violently, splitting its shape into 2 and then 3 shadowy forms, trying to confuse her. One shape clawed at her back. Another reached for her face. She forced herself down, breaking free enough to grab the iron spear. With all her strength, she drove it into the very center of the stump. The spear pierced deep. A sound like thunder cracked through the clearing. The spirit shrieked again, louder than ever before. The shadow forms merged back into one but now flickered weakly, like smoke in heavy wind. Adarong fell to her knees but crawled forward, grabbing the clay pot of palm oil mixed with herbs. She poured the remaining mixture into the cracks and quickly struck flint against iron. The spark caught. At first, the flame was small, then it turned blue, bright blue. The stump ignited from within. The fire did not spread to the forest. It burned only the stump. The spirit thrashed violently in the air, shrinking as the flames grew stronger. Its long arms stretched desperately toward Adarong, but they began dissolving into ash before reaching her. Its white eyes dimmed. The scream turned into a hollow wind, then into nothing. The spirit collapsed inward, sucked back into the burning stump. The flames roared one final time. Then silence, but not like the heavy silence as before. Not the waiting silence of fear, but a clean silence. The stump cracked again and collapsed into grey ash. The iron spear fell sideways. The blue flame faded. Adarong lay flat on the ground, breathing hard, her skin marked where the shadow had touched her. The elders slowly approached. Chief Adeyemi stared at the ash. "It is over," he whispered. Adarong closed her eyes briefly, then nodded. "It is over." And for the first time in generations, the villagers will not experience fear at noon again. Find out in the final chapter what happened the next day after Adarong battled with the dark spirit. If you find this video interesting and scary, hit a thumbs up and comment below interesting. Don't forget to share it with your friends and that love scary stories. Thanks for watching. The next day, the village did not celebrate immediately. They waited. No one trusted silence so easily. Morning passed as usual. Women cooked. Farmers went to their fields. Children laughed carefully, as if unsure whether joy was allowed. Adarong sat beneath a tree near the center of Ayatoro. Her shoulder was wrapped in cloth. The burn from the spirit's touch had darkened her skin, but she remained strong. By 11:45, the village slowly began to gather outside. Not hiding, watching the sky, watching the sun climb. Chief Adeyemi stood in the open square, something he had not done at noon in his entire life. Aya Agba stood beside him, gripping her wrapper tightly. 11:59. The church bell rope was held by a young boy whose hands trembled. He rang it. 1. The wind slowed slightly. 2. The villagers held their breath. 3. A baby began to cry. 4. No shadow moved. 5. No cold breath touched their necks. 6. Sweat rolled down faces. 7. A goat bleated loudly. 8. Still nothing. 9. The sun stood directly above them. 10. The ground remained steady. 11. Adarunk looked toward the forest. 12. The final bell rang. Nothing happened. The wind continued normally. Birds flew across the sky. An insect buzzed past someone's ear. Children looked at one another. Then one small boy stepped forward into the center of the square. He waited. Nothing grabbed him. No shadow stretched. No scream echoed. The boy began to laugh. And suddenly, the entire village erupted. Women cried openly. Men shouted and raised their hands toward the sky. Some fell to their knees in relief. Aya Agba wept without shame. Chief Adeyemi walked slowly toward Adarunk. "You have given us back our son," he said quietly. For the first time in generations, Ayatoro lived at noon. That afternoon, the village refused to go indoors. They cooked outside. They sang loudly. They let children run wild under the high sun just because they could. They celebrated for days. Goats were slaughtered. Drums were beaten. Stories were told around open fires about the brave young hunter who fought a shadow and lived. They offered Adarunk land. They offered her gold beads passed down through families. Some even offered marriage proposals from respected households. She refused gently each time. "I did not come to stay," she said. Aya Agba held her hands one evening. "Then why did you come?" Adarunk looked toward the forest line. "I did not know," she admitted, "but I think I was meant to." On the third morning after the battle, before the village woke fully, she packed her bow and few belongings. Chief Adeyemi met her at the edge of the village. "You will always have a place here," he said. She nodded. "Guard your land better this time." He bowed his head. As she walked away, the sun began to rise behind her, casting a long shadow on the red earth. But this time, it was only her shadow. Normal, still, human. The village of Ayatoro remained alive at noon from that day forward. Children grew up without fear of the bell. Farmers worked under full sun. Life returned fully. Yet some elders still say that deep in forests across southwestern Nigeria, there are old stumps that were never properly burned. And sometimes, when the sun stands directly above the earth, and the air becomes too still, some people still remember Adarunk, the stranger, the hunter, the girl who fought noon, and won, the end. Share this video if you find the story interesting. Don't forget to comment your thoughts. Join the community if you have not. Comment below what story will you want me to share. Thanks for watching.